I just sold my $6,000 e-bike on Facebook Marketplace, and not for the reason you might expect. When I first bought this bike on Alibaba back in late 2021, I was hyped to get it. With a dirt bike-like frame and a 72-volt 48 amp hour battery, I could go 50, 60, even 70 miles on a single charge, and with a 12,000 watt hub motor, I could easily push over 50 miles an hour. But just like everything bought in China, it took about 20 years to arrive. Once it finally did though, I immediately got to unboxing it and had it up and running by day's end. And during this time I worked a part-time job close to my house and didn't have a car, so that meant I relied solely on my bike for transport. Unfortunately, the fun would last all but 6 hours, as the next day I couldn't even get the bike to turn on. I did everything. I attempted disconnecting and reconnecting wires, but it was no use. Something had happened to it that prevented the controller from connecting to the bike. That controller was for all intents and purposes dead. Luckily though, I bought from a reputable vendor in China, and once I sent them a video of the controller malfunctioning, they sent me a brand new one in only 7 days, no questions asked. After that, for about a year, the bike was everything I could have asked for. I made some minor adjustments to it here and there, like lowering the seat angle, installing lights, changing the foot pegs, adding decals, and more. But around this time, I left my part-time job to move on to something full-time. You see, while I was working, I also finished my bachelor's and now had a degree in 3D modeling and animation. You can see my work in a surron edit I made up here. Check it out, or don't. I don't mind, but would be awesome if you clicked on it. After you finish this video, of course. This led me to using the bike less and less, as I no longer needed it for commuting. And over time, I went from riding it daily to 4 times a week, to 2 times a week, to really only once in a blue moon. That was until the Tampa Surron Mega Ride. This was the first ever e-bike ride out I attended and was definitely thrown into the deep end. There were 2 solid days of high power e-bike riding like nothing I'd ever seen before. Wheelies, slams, and everything in between. It reignited my passion for e-bikes, and shortly after, I actually started this channel. I'd also met lots of cool people that day and got invited to numerous ride-out groups in my area. So now you might be wondering, if I love e-bikes and riding so much, why did I sell my e-bike? Well, obviously to make space for an even better bike. Don't tell my old bike I said that though. You see, as great as the bike was, having to load a 200-pound bike in the back of an SUV every week to go to a ride out was a hassle. And on top of that, I was getting eager to start riding off-road more. The bike's 50-pound hub motor was really only good for on-road riding. That's when I came to the conclusion I should get an e-bike that is light, nimble, upgradable, and good off-road. I put my e-bike up for sale on Marketplace, and a few weeks later, it ended up selling. The guy was super happy with it. As I waved goodbye to the bike for the last time, I wondered whether I'd made the right decision, especially considering all the time and effort I put into it. That thought, however, quickly left my mind as I started thinking what bike I would buy next. After hours and hours of grueling research. Not really. A surron seemed like the best option, but not just any surron. I wanted to do something a little different. And that's why today I am announcing a project bike like no other. A fully custom-built surron from the frame up. The only rule to this build being that I can't buy a complete surron to start with, new or used.
Yo lad, why am I run on fire? What the fuck?
And in the next video, I'll show you exactly how I'm doing it.